What is going on? Just got my blood test results back from the lab via Thriver, and I'm going to take you through them with me. I've seen some of the results briefly and it's pretty shocking. So let's get into it. The tests that I got done were active B12, full blood count, which is my hemoglobin, hematocrit and all my other cell counts, testosterone and advanced iron profile. And these are all the markers that I look for when I need to see if when I need to be objective about whether I'm going to be able to push my body through the next intense training block and get everything that I want out of it. If I'm going to be able to make all the adaptations that I want to get as fit as I want to try and reach my potential, then I need to know that I am not low on testosterone or my B12 is where it should be, and this is what I'm going to get out of these test scores. So if there is something on the lower end, then we can talk about what that means, how I will change. We just talk about the scores in general and yeah, what it means for my cycling performance. So B12 active, we've got 130 picomoles per litre, which is exactly where we need it to be. In fact, that's quite high for somebody who is indoor training as much as I am, sweating as much as I am, using up the B12 as much as I am when I'm pushing my body to its limit each day. One day on, one day off at least. And I'm happy with that. The reason it is like that is because the reason I'm able to push my body so much and it still be as high as that is because I supplement B12 as a subcutaneous injection, 1 milliliter of 500 mcgs every 3 months. And that just means that I can set it and forget it. You know, I don't have to worry about whether an oral pill or whether it's fortified in my foods, whether that is making its way past the gut barrier, because that is the problem with B12. Even if you are eating meat, even if you are eating fortified foods, even if you are taking an oral pill, it's still difficult for your body to absorb B12. And so for me, with my ambition to try and reach my potential on the bike and to push as many watts as I can for as long as I possibly can, to reach my potential I need to, supplementing B12 is just a no-brainer, and it's so easy. It's also WADA approved, it's a vitamin, it is also a subcutaneous injection, it's not intravenous, so I'm not pushing it into the vein. And yeah, it's what our body needs, and it's the guaranteed way to get it, so that's how I do it. First one down, B12 active is a thumbs up. That is all good. It's exactly where I need it to be, and I will continue to supplement 500 mcgs, 1 milliliter as a subcutaneous injection every 3 months and get a similar result, guaranteed. On to full blood count now, which is hemoglobin, hematocrit, red cell count, mean corpuscular volume, I always forget how to say that one. Yeah, just all my red blood cell counts. And let's have a look. Hemoglobin, 168 grams per litre, which is almost off the scale. Hemoglobin and hematocrit, these are the measures of my oxygen carrying capacity, and the higher these scores are towards the healthy, or on the healthy range, the better. That's exactly how I want them to be. I'm going to be more efficient as a cyclist if my scores are on the higher end of these ranges, and that's exactly where they are, and to the point where I am kind of shocked, because you would have thought that someone who trains as hard as I do would have would deplete their hematocrit, but the way that I train, I don't design my training blocks around TSS, and TSS, a high TSS for a pro cyclist doing 21 hours a week, that is related to depleting hematocrit, whereas I am concentrating on intensity factor. Intensity factor is something that is a part of a TSS equation, but not all TSS is created equal, and intensity factor is what I want to concentrate on. Since I started training on Zwift, I've been able to race a hematocrit of 42% and keep up, you know, with the front groups, which in these brutal races, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a high TSS for the rest of the training block. So because I'm doing these intermittent interval sessions, 1 day on, 1 day off, brutal Zwift races, and then resting for an entire day, replenishing, you know, creating an equilibrium with my diet and lifestyle to meet the workload, to meet the adaptation that my body wants to make from that workload, from that hypoxia. This allows me to sustain a high hematocrit and then build upon it and come out with 52% hematocrit. And this is as high as I ever wish to naturally get. There's still at least 10% to go to reach Pantani levels, including exogenous EPO. blood bags and a load of cocaine. There's something I want to address from the last video, which is this, my home Hematocrit machine that we tested my blood on. The same blood that I tested to send off to the pathology lab, also tested on this. 46% hematocrit, 15.8 hemoglobin. Pathology lab gold standard, 52% hematocrit, 16.8 hemoglobin. So you can tell that this machine is pretty inaccurate. Well, on this test. In previous tests where I've tested in parallel, exactly the same as I did in that last video, it's been either spot on with the pathology lab or about a 2% inaccuracy. But you know, this time, I mean, this to me just proves exactly what I got this machine for. And it is not for somebody, I'm not going to recommend this machine for somebody who thinks that lab tests are too expensive, and so instead this is cheaper in the long run, so get one of these and then it's going to tell me an accurate result every time. That's just not the case. What it is useful for, and the reason that I got this machine, was to learn more about my blood and what affects it. This is a useful tool for me to be able to see if I'm falling outside of the healthy ranges during a training block. It's a good interim measure, but it's definitely not the be all and end all. But without this machine, I would not know, I would not feel as informed about blood as I do now without this. Day in, day out, whenever I want to, I've been testing my blood with this during every condition. Before a race, after a race, hydrated, dehydrated, slept well, slept badly, high stress level. Every condition you could think of, I've been testing my blood on this in parallel with it, and I've been able to see what this is accurate within its own test results enough for me to be able to see how these different conditions affect my blood, and I feel so much more experienced in blood, what affects it, because of this machine. So it's been definitely useful for that, but I'm not recommending this for somebody who isn't willing to do the research, isn't willing to do the reading into their blood and test day in, day in and day out, and just thinks that this machine is going to give them an accurate result. That's not going to be the case, and it's actually going to be more confusing than it is informative. So that's just a bit about this machine. But yeah, full blood count, again, a massive, through the roof thumbs up. Could not be any happier with my full blood count. Testosterone, onto testosterone. This, again, I thought from as much as I train, I would be lowering my testosterone. The more, well, TSS again, measuring how you train in TSS, if you have a very high TSS, you're probably most likely going to have a low testosterone, a low red blood cell count, things like that, because you're going to be using it up in the fatigue. 21 nanomolars per litre is beyond where I thought it would be, because I did think that it would be difficult for my body to recover from the workload, the intensity that I was pushing my body through. But that's it. I don't have to guess anymore. I know that this protocol works for me and that my body can adapt to it. With my diet and lifestyle, with the workload, there is an equilibrium and my body can cope with it, and I can push myself through more. Testosterone, really happy with. On to advanced iron profile, and this again was one that back in 2017, with my hematocrit being at 36%, my iron stores were also incredibly low, and now I've been able to build them up despite an intense training load that I'm pushing my body through. Every red blood cell in your body has 4 iron atoms, and so you're going to need a lot of iron in order to reach your potential as an athlete. And athletes, they deplete their iron stores much more quickly than your average human, and so you need to make sure that you're replenishing your stores of iron as much as possible. As much as the workload that you're putting through your body, you need to create, again, that equilibrium. If you want to adapt to the workload, your body is going to want to create more red blood cells, it's going to need more of those iron atoms, and if you're not giving your body that, then it's going to create malformed red blood cells. You're just not going to have the oxygen carrying capacity that you're trying to train your body to create. And I wasn't doing that back in 2017, and the only way I was able to do something about it, to become objective about it, was by getting tested. And the first thing I say to anybody who wants to be able to reach their fitness potential, to build their blood, is to get tested, because I think to this day I still wouldn't know what was wrong, and I still wouldn't be anywhere near, I definitely wouldn't be 5 watt per kilo FTP, that's for sure. And I'm so glad that I got tested and that I've been on this journey. Ferritin score of 111 micrograms per litre as of today. This just means that I'm going to be able to carry on doing exactly what I'm doing and feeling as good as I'm feeling now, training as much as I'm training now, and we're good to go. We're good to go. I have the iron I need to carry on having as much fun as I'm having on the bike, because I know how I felt when I was at 36% hematocrit, and I know how I feel now at 52% hematocrit, and it is a world of difference. This is so cool. I'm so happy that this is working out, and I can't wait to share this with you in the form of Bloodsport. So I'm off now to write more Bloodsport, get it finished, get it to you. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions in the meantime, leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.